Good morning, good evening from Formlabs APAC HQ here in Singapore. The team will be taking over the summit for a little while. My name's Liam, I'm part of the channel marketing team here in APAC. So this marks the start of day 2 for us here in Asia. I know there's already been some fantastic talks and sessions that went on throughout the night. So if you have not managed to already, I'd really encourage you to take a look around the event platform to catch up or rewatch some of the recorded content from yesterday, which will be available now on demand. Okay. Next up, we've got David Tan, the Formlabs APAC GM. He's going to be giving us a broad overview of the future of Formlabs in the Asia-Pacific region. Okay, David, you want to take it away?
Thank you very much. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So thanks very much for actually joining us at this special event. And this is actually the first time, at least for me, in Formlabs, where we are actually doing a virtual user summit. Pros and cons. The pro is that everybody can actually get to participate in this event from your office or from your home. So which is a big bonus. So that way, you are able to not only learn and see what other users are actually doing across not only APAC but globally, but also be able to mingle and get to know who are the other users that's actually attending this event. So very quickly, my name is David Tan. I started in Formlabs probably a little bit more than 2.5 years ago when I actually joined in from my previous company, multinational Oracle. So it's been an exciting journey in Formlabs, and I have never once regretted it. It is actually amazing because why? Because we have amazing partners, we have amazing customers. I have actually managed to meet up with some of our customers who are actually using our technology, and it is just enticing to see the amount of use cases that each of the customers are exploring, and even taking the use of a 3D printing tool that Formlabs provides and take it to the next level. So what I'm going to do today is not so much to talk about the technology, but to maybe share with you the Formlabs Asia Pacific journey, and maybe to give you a little bit more insight in terms of how we are doing across the number of years that we have actually had our presence here in Asia Pacific, and what perhaps is actually to come. All right. So before that, I'm actually calling in or dialing in from Singapore. So welcome to you guys from Singapore. And secondly, I want to give a big shout out to each and every one of our customers and partners who have actually made our Formlabs journey in Asia Pacific memorable. Without you guys, it would have been quite a difficult to even to take this to where we are today. And I think while we can actually provide the technology, but really it is how you use technology, how you deliver value, how you actually help solve problems in each of your community that makes that big difference. And if you're able to do that, then we have definitely achieved our mission statement. So very quickly, I just want to highlight some of my key members across Asia Pacific. This is currently the universe of my family in Asia Pacific Formlabs. When I first joined in Formlabs, there was probably around 7 of us. All right. And today we are around 17, 18. All right. And here we have from Japan, we have members from Japan, from China, from Korea, from Australia. All right. From of course, Singapore. We have a team here in Singapore, and last but not least, India as well, who has actually joined our family. So today I have a full team that is all set and geared to bring the revolution of 3D printing across Asia Pacific. Here you have this gentleman here, extremely excited. The reason why is because we are actually starting to roll out exciting things, in Asia Pacific. And this is actually probably the first Form 3L printer that got delivered. It's actually an engineering unit, not a final product. But it was actually exciting to see how the team was just energized by having a unit in our office in Tokyo, where they are currently sharing it with our partners, sharing it with customers to help them see the amazing things that gets printed out from a larger SLA platform, which was previously not available. So very quickly, our Asia Pacific journey thus far. Across Asia Pacific, if I can actually maybe give you a brief recap. While I may have joined Formlabs 2 years ago, Formlabs' journey in Asia Pacific is not new. We have actually started our first journey in Asia Pacific in 2015, where the first few printers were delivered into Asia Pacific. All right. And in 2016, we started opening up the channel business, because that was actually a strategy that we had, working with channel partners to be able to propagate, to be able to deliver, ensuring that the units are actually available locally, where you can get not only local units, but support as well, very important, and local warranty. So that way, when you actually use a unit, you feel, you know, that there is a peace of mind in terms of using the technology, and that if there's any need that you have, you can always reach out to our partners. And then the next year, we had the Form 2 release in 2017. And as you know, most of you who have been with us since then, Form Wash was a big thing as well. While Form 2 actually revolutionized the desktop SLA business. While we actually introduced Form 1 Plus and then followed up by Form 2 in 2017. Form 2 actually provided greater accuracy, greater reliability, and your print success was above 90%. And that was a big thing, back in 2017. And that was actually what grew the business, and people got more excited. It was no longer seen as just a beta tool, so to speak, but rather it was something that people could actually use in their workplace as well. And then in 2018, we completed the entire ecosystem, because it was not just printing. You needed to have a proper system, a proper workflow that allows you to do washing and then curing, so that if you are in the space where you're testing out with engineering, some of our engineering resins, some of our dental resins, you are able to cure it and get the right mechanical properties from it. And that gives you the confidence to then basically take it to your customers, or internally have a discussion around, how you will actually stress test and do what you need to do with the printer part. And then in 2019 was also another exciting year. That was when we started to roll out. We actually had our first pre-order in 2019, and it was a bumper year for us, because we had so much interest in the Form 3 that it actually grew our business exponentially in Asia Pacific. And this year, in 2020, we finally released to our partners, and you probably would have heard about it. The Form 3L is coming to our shops. All right. While we're actually taking pre-orders right now, and there is a huge backlog, and I thank you all our customers for being patient with us. Because of the huge demand that we have, we are doing our best to try to meet it in the shortest time possible. While some of you are actually asking us to get the units to your doorstep as early as this quarter, more likely than not, it will probably come in Q1 next year. All right. But that is actually something that we are all excited. And once you have it in your hands, I'm excited to see what you will do with a Form 3L, because not only does it give you a bigger platform to work with, we also have new materials that was launched just a day ago, all right, in US yesterday, where, if you have not heard, we have actually, this morning, you probably have heard of it, we have actually the Draft V2, which is extremely exciting. If you always had a interest to print faster, imagine this: if Draft version 1 was our fastest resin, all right, at 300 micron, which is actually equivalent to an FDM, all right, printing layer height. Draft V2, not only have we reduced it down by 33%, 1/3, because now we are doing from 300 micron to 200 micron, which means your parts are going to look even more amazing. And you also have the option of doing it at 100 micron if you want to. But at 200 micron, not only is it a better resolution, but you actually get, in my testing at least, 30% faster print speed compared to Draft V1. That is actually truly, truly amazing. So with that, you should be able to take your adventure in 3D printing using SLA to the next level. And you're able to then meet your timelines, be able to not have to wait too long. Today, I'm actually printing a lot in Draft and Draft V2 resin, and it's amazing. All right. So across the so to speak 5 years or so, when I actually look at our numbers, we have actually exceeded 10,000 printers. All right. If you have heard earlier today, where Max or perhaps even Luke actually shared, we have actually crossed the 70,000 printers sold mark. In Asia Pacific, we actually contributed more than 10% of that. And I expect it to grow even more. In fact, once we actually have the newer products coming in, I perceive that there's going to be a lot more excitement in the market, and we have not slowed down. We have absolutely not slowed down. While we have actually gone through tough times, and the last 6 months or more has been really tough on a lot of our customers, a lot of our partners, as well. And we appreciate, the support that each one of you have been providing to Formlabs here in Asia Pacific. I just want to iterate the fact that we have not slowed down in terms of the numbers. We are still growing positively in Asia Pacific, which is a very good sign, which basically means that a lot of you are actually taking not only advantage of the smaller platform, which means that you do not need to have to go into office where large machines would actually sit. You can now take even the Formlab Form 2 or Form 3 back home, during the period where you had to work from home and still be productive. And that is awesome. And that was what we have actually been seeing the last six months, where our printing has not really diminished significantly. In fact, it went down, as Max actually shared this morning, and it went up very quickly. So much that we are still printing, having healthy growth in the number of prints. And in terms of resin, and this is where it actually gives you a flavor in terms of how extensive our users are actually taking our printers. They are not just printing one part a month, all right? The amount of resins that we have been actually selling, and exponentially it has been growing, is 72,000. That is actually very significant. And with all the innovation that we bring and all the engineering in the mechanical properties that we bring to the plate, today we have over 20, a year ago, it was actually over 20 types of resins available. And almost every quarter or 2 quarters, we'll be releasing a new resin, all right? A new resin with new properties. And to just yesterday, we actually announced 2 or 3 actually new resins available, all right? And that's actually fantastic. So we will continue to innovate. We will continue to bring, new resins for you to experiment and see how it actually fits into your workflow, and more importantly, help you address your use case in a better way. So I just want to share one specific use case where I personally was involved in. I was involved here in Singapore with our partner, which is actually Mouse, who actually runs Eye2Eye, fantastic partner. They have actually a huge domain knowledge in the medical space. And working with Mouse, while we saw the adoption of MP swabs or nasal pharyngeal swabs in US coming out, where Formlabs, earlier today you saw the use case where the hospitals were actually using it, USF, was actually deploying it. In Singapore, there was also a homegrown initiative. The homegrown initiative was also to look at how to resolve a situation, and the situation was basically the low supply of nasal pharyngeal swab. And this swab is actually interesting. Why? Because instead of taking the US swabs that we actually had, Singapore decided to actually create their own swabs. The reason why is that we realized the ones that were used in US was a little bit bigger for the Asian nasal cavity. So they designed another swab which was actually quite interesting. It actually gave better results, and we were actually happy. It was actually G. I'm not sure whether G is for good, but it was actually G swab. We went through several iterations, and we finally actually started printing this a couple of months ago. And Mouse has personally been involved in actually making sure that 4 million swabs actually gets printed and sent. I believe that we are actually close to printing all 4 million swabs. So that's kudos to him. All right. Now, this specific use case, the second reason why I'm actually sharing this with you is the following. When I look at the adoption of 3D printing, well, today is actually the user summit. User here actually brings 2 flavors to the table. Number one, users here could be designers, people who actually prototype and build parts where they can actually share and have a conversation around that physical object before it gets actually sent in for the mass production. That is actually one use case, and a lot of you are actually doing that. Some of you are even printing, figurines on our machines, and then painting on it, and then that becomes a final piece. So that's actually fantastic. But with this specific use case, it actually became very evident that there was actually a second user. The second user were people who actually needed to have swabs tested, all right, to test whether they actually had COVID. And this, while they may not have access to the printer, they definitely had access to the final product that our actually users were actually printing. And that actually opens up a whole new mindset. And I realized that really, the impact that you bring to your users, to your end customers is going to be significant. Why? Because with the tool in your hands, you can make that happen. So thank you very much to Miles, and the team who actually made it happen here in Singapore. So where are we heading? So if I can actually give you some snapshot in terms of Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific is not a small region, all right? While we may have started our journey in Formlabs in US, at home in US, in Boston, and then grew the business significantly, and then we expanded to Europe, and now we are actually heavily also invested in Asia Pacific. Asia Pacific, from a manufacturing hub perspective, contributes surprisingly 42% of world's manufacturing. And if you look at the numbers here that was recently published, all right, by United Nations Statistics Division, China is number 1, Japan number 3, Korea number 5, India is number 6. All right. So again, Asia Pacific has a huge potential, which we hope that we can actually help unlock, that we can actually bring low cost but high quality printers to our users, and for them to be able to take it on and to be able to share the end results with their fellow colleagues and customers. So from a dollar perspective, 4 trillion is actually quite significant, all right, from a number. But let me just actually move on. Where are we going and where are we heading? So in just the last few slides, I just wanted to bring into perspective, while we have actually been able to be very successful in the desktop SLA space, allowing users, customers to be able to have a private or personal printer sitting at their desk to be able to help them in their workflow. There is actually a bigger picture. A bigger picture here comes in the form of both Form 3L, which soon we will have it available in your doorstep. And then very soon, next year, we will also be bringing Fuse. All right, it is not a vaporware. It is coming. We have seen it, we have tested it, and it is fantastic. And it will give a lot of the larger, powder-based printers a run for the money, because the quality that we have actually put into it is significant. So, going bigger is definitely going to be our next theme, from now until next year. And hopefully by then, we will have a full ecosystem available to all our customers for you to be able to look and grow with you. So if you currently have a Form 2, consider moving to a Form 3. And if you do see a need to have multiple machines, but you don't have enough footprint, all right, means that your table, you can't afford to have 3 printers sitting, then perhaps a Form 3L would be a good avenue for you to take on, because that would actually allow you to have a more seamless workflow and be able to, create larger objects as well. So that will actually unleash the potential in your space. So finally, I want to give a shout out to Liam, who actually has been working tirelessly with the team. And I believe that today, the rest of the day, there's actually a lot more sharing that will be involved. Seiko will also be taking a session in terms of sharing about some best practices. And I trust that today will be an interesting and educational investment on your part as you invest a day with us at the Formlabs User Summit in Asia Pacific. Thank you very much. Over to you, Liam.
Thank you, David. Thank you for that insight. So next up, in around about just over an hour and a half, it'll be 12 p.m. Singapore time, we'll be hearing from Tanya Marriott. So she'll be discussing 3D printing pipeline and workflow from a character modeling and design perspective, sharing her approach to how she teaches her students on how they start 3D printing. In the meantime, as David mentioned in his talk, we did announce the launch of 2 new very interesting resins yesterday, Rigid 10K and a reformulation of our existing draft material. So if you click on the agenda option on the left-hand side of your screen, when you exit this talk and select show past sessions, you can catch up on the material breakout talks from both of these resins yesterday. They're really worth watching because they are 2 very, very interesting resins that have been added to our portfolio. So I encourage you to catch up on that in the meantime. And then if not, I'll see you in around about an hour and a half where we'll talk with Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you.